Hi there. So finished 1-1 today in the Emirates Cup against Monaco, and we beat them on penalties to lift the trophy. Your thoughts on the game?
Oh, nice to start the season with a trophy, even if it's our own. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal started brightly, but then I think Monaco dominated most of the first half. Second half was better, but of course with all the changes it's very difficult to judge them. And some of the players were playing in different positions from what we're used to or what we were led to expect. Overall it was a bit disjointed, but there were times when they played some really good football, I thought, Arsenal. Monaco looked quite neat and tidy as well. Refereeing didn't help, one or two decisions, and the bookings were ridiculous for what was in all effect a friendly match. And for the accidental push or handball, whatever it was against Saliba, to book him was ludicrous. But anyway, it was good to see them back on home soil as well. And yeah.
I thought it was, first off, props to Aaron Ramsdale, his first penalty save. Had a couple that have been missed, but the first one he actually stopped. So now that he's been lobbed from 40 yards in Europe and he's saved a penalty, he's following Seaman's footsteps, not long till England #1 from here, right? First of many, I hope, for those. It was very nice to get a chance to see. I didn't realise how big Declan Rice is till you see him standing next to other people. I thought Havertz played very well a bit further back, which was very nice to see. Got stuck in well. I was very impressed with his off-the-ball work. I thought Smith Rowe looked sharp. I thought he was excellent. He looks like a man who knows he's got to prove it this season, and he's coming in to fight for his place. And I think if you're in a position where you are resting Havertz and you're resting Odegaard, I would have Smith Rowe, Trossard as the 2-8s. I think either of them can play on either side. I thought he normally plays well on the left, but he played on the right. I thought Vieira was lost on the touchline. He's not physical enough, he's not quick enough. Some good balls in, but I'm a bit, the jury's out on him. The best I've seen him is when he's played in the Odegaard role, but again, I'm not sure he's quite physical enough for what we need. It was good. I think some of the positioning was about people just getting some minutes in their legs, especially I think when he took Saliba off and we had Kivior and Gabriel playing two left-footed centre-backs is not something I think we'll see a lot of. But yeah, nice to see Tierney on again, Ben White, Tommy. Very interesting to see Timber and Tommy switch quite a bit. I think that's something that is going to be helpful, that versatility. There was some interesting link-up plays. I thought Timber and Martinelli had some good interchange play. I think Rice and Martinelli showed a little bit of good interchange as well, and it was interesting to see Rice and Partey together. And I wonder if, especially away at City, maybe on Sunday as well, but especially in places like away at City, you're going to have that as a defensive two, because that's a pretty solid that's a pretty solid defensive midfield there. It's going to give you a lot of cover. I think there's still very much an element of players learning each other, but you can see things clicking. Eddie took his goal well, he worked hard. I still don't think he's good enough for being what we want to achieve, but he's a good mid to upper mid-table Premier League player, and hopefully we'll get some money for him. Unfortunately, just seen that Jesus is out, had a little op on his knee, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. I really hope Balogun gets a run, but we'll see. And yeah, I think overall, nice to start with a trophy, some good stuff, some things to think about. I'm not sure that it'll be the same team that starts on Sunday, and I think with that in mind, there are some players who got less minutes.
Of course, Saka didn't play at all.
Yeah, I think the first time he's not played in about 80 games or something for Arsenal. So let him sit down and save himself to run City ragged. I'm quite happy, nice to be here, nice to get a win, lift the trophy, and yeah. Okay, so you want to say, talking about today's game, nice and loud.
So talking about today's game, so I think we should have had maybe Saka or Odegaard in the lineup instead of Vieira. Yeah. And yeah, I thought we were going to lose on the penalty shootout because Ramsdale never saved a penalty for Arsenal, but he did it today. And it was
to Ramsdale today for sure. Okay, so not long till the season starts now. Got a Community Shield on Sunday, then the first Premier League game next Saturday. So looking ahead to the new season now, what is your minimum expectations?
Well, I think last season we were fighting for the title much to everybody's surprise. This season we are going to be genuine contenders, and I think that Arsenal will win the Premier League either this season or next. And the other thing about this season's Premier League, I don't think we'll be fighting Manchester City for the title. I think we'll be fighting Manchester United for the title. They have come on very quietly under Ten Hag. City have shed a few players, they've lost a few to the money in Saudi Arabia and one or two retirements and so on. And they haven't really strengthened. Arsenal have strengthened, United have strengthened, and both of them have improved. And I think that will be the fight at the top of the table. And I think City will be a little bit behind. I'm not writing them off, don't think I am, but I think there's one or two players possibly have seen their best, and they don't seem to have made any progress as far as getting replacements in, although they're going to pay 70 odd million apparently for that defensive youngster. But I don't think they're going to be quite the force they were last season, and I think it'll be Arsenal and Man United. It'll be interesting to see how things develop. We do need to make decisions on the striking situation because Jesus, as Ian has said, is out. Balogun's been injured, so he hasn't had the opportunity to show what he can do in pre-season. But as you know, I'm a massive fan of his, and I think that it would be an opportunity, if he'd been playing so far, to start him against City and against Forest, and for however long till Jesus is better. But of course he's got no game time behind him because he's been out for the last couple of weeks himself. But I'm expecting a long and strong season from Arsenal. I expect us to go far in all the cup competitions, and as I say, I fancy us to win the league this season or next.
Alex, what about you?
I think we're definitely going to win the league next season.
Yeah, you're very confident we're going to do it? It'll be nice, 20 years since we're Invincibles.
Yeah.
The title race is going to be Arsenal, United and City.
Okay. Let's hope so. It's been a long wait for us. Last season was so close. Yourself, minimum expectations for next season?
So yeah, again, top two, definitely. I think, as my dad said, United have strengthened. I wouldn't rule out City because, they still had so much strength in depth and the window's still going. Wouldn't surprise me if they pull out something now or a couple of things in January. And what they've tended to do is kind of start a little bit slow, keep on the tails, and then by the time you get to sort of January, February time, they're starting to come into it, and when they hit April, May time, the big crunch time, they tend to just be steamrollering as they did it last season. They've done it the last few seasons. Liverpool will attest to that as well. So you can't count them out. But I think it may well be a three-horse race. I expect us to go quite far in Europe as well, barring a really unlucky draw. I expect us to be able, as one of the top two seeds, to get out the group and to get through hopefully the first round. And then we'll see. Carabao Cup, isn't it, nowadays? I think the Cups, if you're unlucky, last season we drew away to City. If you go a draw away to City in an early round and you go out, there's not, you can't. I'm not going to hold that against him. But what I don't want to see is that we lose away to a Championship side, or we get knocked out by a struggling Premier League side or something like that. But yeah, very confident. It's nice where we've fallen down the last couple of years is our lack of strength and depth. We've got towards the end of the season, we kind of ran out of puff, ran out of the tank. I think if you think about the last 2 months of last season, you could have named the starting 11 in your sleep. Whereas what we've got now is the options of picking different players. And I'm not sure I could necessarily, if everybody's fit, I don't know I could necessarily name the entire first 11, and I don't think we should, and I think that's going to stand us in good stead. I think we're going to have to give Havertz and Rice a little bit of time to bed in, and Timber as well, get used to their teammates, to see how they play with each other. you know, it's one thing in pre-season, but to be able to play without looking to know where they are with that extra half second, that just takes a bit of time. I think they're very shrewd acquisitions. Havertz scored, was it 2 in 3 when he was stateside. Came on and played well today in a slightly deeper role. Rice is feeling his way in, some nice touches, some nice moves. Nearly got one in the first half there, bar that last-ditch tackle. Starting to find his feet a bit. And Timber just looks like a brilliant signing. Either foot, he can spin on a sixpence, absolutely great, can invert from either side, strong in the tackle, intelligent, got a lovely pass and can drive through. So I'm very confident with what we've done. I won't be upset if we sign Raya. I think that's going to be an interesting competition if that happens. But we've got to wait for Turner to go first. But definitely upgrades the position, and it puts Ramsdale, you know, he's got to be on his game. I think he's been able to coast a bit. He's not had proper challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes as well. I think there's a few big seasons for some big players to come. I think, as we talked about, I think Fabio Vieira, this is a make or break for him. I think Smith Rowe knows it and he's showing it. I think Tommy needs to have a good season as well and stay fit. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the midfield shapes up with Rice and Partey. But I'm quite confident.